For decades, Canada was the quiet giant of North American football. A nation better known for ice hockey, snow, and winter dominance than football glory. But then something changed. A generation of players rose from European academies, MLS academies, and forgotten grassroots pitches. And suddenly, Canada stopped being an outsider. They became a threat. By the time the World Cup cycle for 2026 arrived, one question echoed across the football world. Was this finally Canada's breakthrough, or just another false dawn? Because for all the progress, one truth remained painful. Canada had only appeared in one World Cup in history, back in 1986. Nearly 4 decades of waiting. Nearly 4 decades of frustration. And now, with the tournament on home soil, the pressure had never been heavier. But how exactly did Canada get here? Canada belongs to CONCACAF, the North American Football Confederation, alongside Mexico and the United States. But for much of its history, Canada existed in the shadow of its continental rivals. Football culture in Canada was once fragmented, overshadowed by hockey, basketball, and American football. Yet in recent years, everything shifted. A new identity was born. A generation raised not just on snowfields, but on football academies across Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. The national team is known as the Canucks, or simply Les Rouges. For decades, Canada struggled to produce global stars. But that changed with names like Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, Silly Larin, Steven Eustachio. Canada's biggest football moment before 2026 wasn't a trophy. It was belief. Belief that they could finally compete with giants like Mexico and the United States. Heading into the modern era, Canada climbed into the top 50 of the FIFA rankings. Canada's World Cup history is short, but emotional. Total appearances, 1. First appearance, 1986, Mexico. Most recent appearance before 2026, 1986. Best finish, group stage. Canada has never reached the knockout rounds. They have never reached a final. They have never reached a semi-final. And they have never won a World Cup match in tournament history. In 1986, Canada left the tournament without scoring a single goal. A painful memory that lingered for generations. But history was no longer a burden. It was fuel. Because in 2026, Canada wasn't just trying to qualify. They were already qualified as co-hosts. And this time, the mission wasn't survival. It was transformation. Unlike most nations, Canada's path to the 2026 World Cup did not run through qualification groups. As co-hosts alongside the United States and Mexico, Canada automatically secured their place in the tournament. But that didn't mean there was no journey. In fact, the real story was happening elsewhere. In preparation matches. In CONCACAF Nations League battles. In Gold Cup tournaments. Because Canada's challenge was not qualifying. It was proving they belong. Under coach John Herdman, Canada entered a new tactical era. A system built on intensity, pressing, and fearless attacking football. The turning point came during the 2022 World Cup qualifying cycle, where Canada shocked the continent. They topped the CONCACAF octagonal group, ahead of Mexico, ahead of the United States. That moment changed everything. It wasn't luck. It was dominance. They recorded strong away wins in Mexico, convincing home performances in Toronto, a relentless attacking identity led by Alphonso Davies and Jonathan David. The biggest victory came in emphatic fashion against Honduras and El Salvador, where Canada's attacking transitions overwhelmed opponents. The biggest challenge came in maintaining consistency. Still, Canada held firm. They didn't just survive CONCACAF anymore. They competed at the top. And when FIFA confirmed Canada as a 2026 host nation, it wasn't seen as charity. It was recognition. At the center of this revolution is Alphonso Davies, the explosive left back from Bayern Munich. A player who went from refugee background to global superstar. His pace, power, and leadership defined Canada's identity. Alongside him is Jonathan David, the clinical striker from Lille, Canada's most reliable goal threat. In midfield, Steven Eustáquio provides control, intelligence, and balance. A rising star to watch is Ismail Kone, a dynamic midfielder bringing energy and unpredictability. Together, this generation represents something Canada has never had before: depth, confidence, and global experience. Canada's tactical identity under John Herdman is simple but aggressive. A flexible 4-4-2/3-4-3 hybrid system, depending on opposition strength. Their style is built on high pressing, fast vertical transitions, wide attacking overloads, exploiting Alphonso Davies' speed on the left flank. But Canada's greatest strength isn't tactical. It's mentality. They no longer fear anyone. As co-hosts, Canada will have home advantage in 2026. And that changes everything. The minimum expectation is clear: reach the round of 16. But internally, ambitions are higher. A quarter-final run would be historic. A semi-final run would redefine Canadian sport forever. But the challenge is massive. They will face global giants with decades of tournament experience. Still, this is the first time Canada enters a World Cup not as outsiders, but as participants with belief. Can this team make history? Here's the shocking truth. Canada went nearly 40 years between World Cup appearances, then suddenly became CONCACAF leaders in one qualification cycle. From snow-covered pitches to world-class stadiums, from underdogs to hosts, the journey is complete. But the story is just beginning. Can Canada shock the world on home soil in 2026? Let me know in the comments.